Friends, we know that Joseph and Kendra were known as the most calm and quiet couple in the Duggar family. When you looked at them, you'd probably think, hey, these two don't even know how to get involved in drama. But friends, did anyone ever imagine that such a huge storm could be hiding beneath such calm water? Today, I'm bringing you some shocking news, the kind of news that will make it hard to believe your own ears. Why are the same couple we always saw staying away from controversy now standing in court, facing serious criminal charges? What really happened behind the scenes that is now turning their lives upside down? And can you imagine how massive this blow could be for one of America's most conservative reality TV families? In today's video, I'll share insider reports and details you may have never heard before. So watch until the very end, because this story has twists and turns that will leave your head spinning. And yes, friends, don't forget to share your thoughts on this shocking situation. Tell me what you think in the comments, and if you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. Now, let's uncover today's mystery together. For years, Joseph and Kendra Duggar were viewed very differently from some of the more controversial members of the Duggar family. They kept their private lives mostly private. They stayed away from social media drama, and compared to the headlines surrounding Josh Duggar and other family controversies, Joseph and Kendra often appeared to be a quiet, low-key couple focused only on church, marriage, and raising their children. That's exactly why this recent legal situation has shocked so many people online. According to multiple published reports, Joseph and Kendra Duggar are now facing charges in Arkansas related to second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor and second-degree false imprisonment. Court documents filed in April 2026 show that both pleaded not guilty through their lawyers. And suddenly, the same couple who almost never made headlines because of scandals became the center of intense public debate. What made this case even more complicated was the fact that allegations surrounding Joseph were reportedly connected to multiple legal investigations. Reports stated that Joseph was already facing separate charges in Florida before the Arkansas case became public. Authorities later clarified that the Arkansas investigation, involving child endangerment and false imprisonment, was being treated separately from the Florida investigation. And this detail changed the entire tone of the conversation online. At first, many people assumed everything was connected to one large investigation. But later reports made it clear that the Arkansas charges were tied to a separate domestic abuse investigation involving children. Public debate became even more intense after reports claimed investigators found locks on the outside doors of the family home during an inspection. Now, it's important to be clear here, these are allegations, not convictions. Joseph and Kendra have maintained their innocence, and the legal case is still ongoing. That distinction is extremely important in situations like this. Still, because of the Duggar family's history with scandals involving child protection issues, public backlash spread quickly. And honestly, I think that history is a huge reason why this story exploded online so fast. If this had involved a completely unknown family, it probably wouldn't have attracted this much attention. But because the Duggars built a public image around Christian family values, strict parenting, and morality, every controversy involving them is now placed under a microscope. And that contrast is what keeps people coming back to these stories again and again. For years, viewers watched the Duggars present themselves as a disciplined and deeply religious family. Joseph and Kendra especially reinforced that image. They were often seen as sweet, traditional, and deeply connected to the family's conservative culture. So when criminal allegations involving children suddenly appear, people naturally begin asking difficult questions. What was really happening behind closed doors? How much pressure exists inside this ultra-conservative environment? And how much damage does another scandal bring to the Duggar family's reputation overall? One thing many people focused on was their decision to plead not guilty. Legally speaking, pleading not guilty is completely normal. It does not automatically mean someone is innocent or guilty. It simply means the charges will be challenged in court, and the legal process will continue. But publicly, moments like these become symbolic. Some viewers saw the plea as a sign that the couple was preparing for a serious legal battle. Others believed it showed confidence from the defense team, and critics immediately started debating whether the Duggar family's influence and wealth could affect the case. This matters because public opinion about the Duggar family has already changed dramatically over the past few years. Many viewers who once supported them now approach every new controversy with suspicion. Another major topic surrounding the case was the restraining order connected to Kendra. Reports stated that after her arrest and release, Kendra was initially ordered to have no contact with the alleged victims. Later, court documents showed that her legal team requested the order be lifted, arguing that the continued restriction was interfering with evaluations related to the case. Eventually, the restraining order was lifted, and that decision sparked another massive wave of online reactions. Some people saw it as a positive sign for the defense. Others argued that it didn't necessarily mean much at all, because when allegations are this serious, every legal development becomes emotionally charged. It's interesting, because the public often reacts emotionally to legal events rather than logically. When people hear that a restraining order has been lifted, many immediately assume the case is falling apart. But in reality, the legal process is often far more complicated than that. And honestly, that complexity often gets lost in social media discussions. Reactions on Reddit and Duggar discussion forums became extremely intense and divided. Some users were especially shocked because Joseph and Kendra had never been viewed as rebellious or attention-seeking members of the family. Others argued that Duggar family culture had faced criticism for years, and this controversy was simply part of a larger pattern. At the same time, there were also people online warning others not to jump to conclusions before the trial even begins. And that balance matters. It's there for the public to discuss serious allegations involving public figures. But it's also important not to present allegations as proven facts before the legal process is complete. One thing that really stands out here is how quickly the Duggar family brand weakens whenever a new controversy appears. A few years ago, 19 Kids and Counting was a huge success. Viewers were fascinated by the family's strict lifestyle and religious structure. The Duggars became one of the most recognized conservative Christian families in reality television. But over time, repeated scandals completely changed that image. Now, instead of conversations about family values or homeschooling, headlines often focus on investigations, arrests, and court appearances. The shift has been enormous. And for Joseph and Kendra specifically, this situation could permanently change how many fans see them. Another important part of this story involves the IBLP world and the conservative religious culture surrounding the family. For years, The Duggar family has been connected to the Institute in Basic Life Principles, commonly known as IBLP. Critics have long accused the environment of encouraging rigid family structures, strict gender roles, and unhealthy authority systems. Because of that background, every Duggar controversy now becomes part of a much larger conversation online about religious control, parenting standards, and accountability. And this matters because the public no longer sees Duggar scandals as isolated incidents. Many viewers now view them as part of a broader cultural discussion. And honestly, I think that's one reason these stories continue attracting attention, even years after the family left television. People are no longer watching only for drama. They're watching because they believe these situations raise bigger questions about power, family image, privacy, and accountability inside highly controlled environments. At the same time, some Duggar supporters continue defending Joseph and Kendra online. Some believe the family is being unfairly targeted because of their fame. Others argue that people rush to conclusions anytime a Duggar family member faces legal trouble. And honestly, you can clearly see both sides reacting emotionally to the exact same information in completely different ways. That's what makes this case feel so emotionally charged online. The serious appearance of Joseph and Kendra in court coverage also impacted public opinion. For years, people only knew them through smiling family photos, church gatherings, and cheerful social media posts. Seeing their names connected to criminal charges completely changed the atmosphere around them. And image matters enormously in reality TV culture. Once public perception changes, it becomes almost impossible to fully reverse it. Another important point here is that there is still limited public information available because the case involves minors. Authorities have reportedly kept parts of the investigation sealed from the public, which means many questions still remain unanswered. And whenever questions remain unanswered, online speculation grows very quickly. This is where viewers need to be careful. There's a major difference between discussing verified public information and spreading internet rumors. A lot of online discussions surrounding the Duggar family quickly cross that line. So while people can absolutely analyze public reports and court developments, it's important not to treat internet theories as confirmed truth. At this point, here's what we publicly know. Joseph and Kendra Duggar were charged in Arkansas with multiple counts of endangering the welfare of a minor and false imprisonment. They later pleaded not guilty. Reports also state that a restraining order connected to the case was eventually lifted. And the legal process is still ongoing. Honestly, that alone is enough to completely change how many viewers now see them. I also think this situation shows just how fragile reality TV reputations can become once audiences begin questioning the authenticity of the image they were shown. For years, the Duggar family built an identity based on morality and family discipline. But as scandal after scandal continues surfacing, viewers are starting to re-examine everything they once accepted without question. And it's happening in real time. Some people are rewatching old episodes and questioning relationships they once ignored. Others are taking a far more critical look at the culture surrounding the family itself. And whether Joseph and Kendra are ultimately convicted or not, the public damage has already begun. That's the reality of modern internet culture. Once a headline spreads, a reputation can change overnight. As this case continues moving through the legal system, the backlash, controversy, and public scrutiny surrounding the Duggar family will almost certainly continue growing. Because at this point, every new Duggar controversy becomes more than just another headline. It becomes part of the family's overall legacy. And for Joseph and Kendra, a couple once viewed by many as the safe and quiet members of the family, that may be the most shocking part of this entire story. I don't know how you felt about the first story, but honestly, while recording these moments, I found myself laughing at some of the situations involving the dog clips. Friends, when I edit these videos and arrange these stories for you, I genuinely feel like I'm not just making videos. It feels like I'm sharing a piece of my love with my friends. My biggest goal is always to bring a smile to your faces. And your love and support honestly means everything to me. Now, let's move on to the next story, one that may make your heart feel a little lighter after everything we just discussed. Kendra Duggar has reportedly reunited with her children after a restraining order against her was lifted, while both she and Joseph continue denying the charges. Kendra Duggar and her husband, Joseph, have pleaded not guilty to second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor and second-degree false imprisonment. This marks the first time Kendra has reportedly reunited with her 4 children since her arrest last month on child neglect-related charges. According to documents obtained by People, a judge signed an order on April 17 lifting Kendra's restraining order. On the same day, Kendra and Joseph also pleaded not guilty to 4 counts of second-degree endangering the welfare of a minor and 4 counts of second-degree false imprisonment. Meanwhile, Joseph is still reportedly not allowed to have unsupervised contact with his 4 children as part of the conditions tied to his bail in a separate Florida case. That case reportedly includes charges involving lewd and lascivious sexual assault of a victim under the age of 12, and lewd and lascivious conduct by a person over the age of 18. Joseph has pleaded not guilty to those charges as well. Kendra and Joseph, who were originally scheduled to appear in court on April 29, are now expected to make their first Arkansas court appearance on August 10. Attorney Travis Story, who represents both Kendra and Joseph, reportedly wrote in the petition to remove the restraining order that Kendra had been unable to see her children since March 20, the day she was arrested and booked into the Washington County Detention Center. The petition reportedly stated several reasons for lifting the order. It claimed that the complainants wanted contact with Kendra, that she had complied with all terms of the order, and that continuing the restriction was interfering with evaluations needed to help resolve the case and ensure the safety and well-being of those involved. On the very same day the petition was filed, a judge reportedly approved the request and ordered the Arkansas Department of Human Services to supervise and help facilitate reunification between Kendra and the children. Kendra and Joseph had originally been ordered to avoid contact with the children after authorities searched their home alongside the Tontatown Police Department and Arkansas Department of Human Services on March 19. Those searches reportedly happened one day after Joseph was arrested in Florida on child sex abuse-related charges. Then, on March 20, Arkansas authorities filed additional charges against Joseph and new charges against Kendra following a separate investigation. Reports state that these Arkansas charges are unrelated to the Florida child sex abuse case. A source close to the family previously claimed that investigators discovered doors in the home that were locked from the outside. Kendra was reportedly arrested and briefly held in the same jail as Joseph. However, she was later released after posting bail only hours after being booked. Joseph later